Hello, I'm Ashley, the engineer at Andover Norton, and one of the things you might have been following is the new hub project that we've had made. This was the hub that we've had cast, and though it was just one of the early samples, as you can see there are a couple of little flaws that you don't see in the one that they corrected. This one has actually been built up into a wheel, and I've put tensions on the spokes, and we've then remeasured the dimensions in the hub to make sure that nothing's distorted or pulled out of place. The actual thing that we have noticed was that we needed to remove a little bit more material around the periphery of the hub on both sides here, and also to machine back this one flange in thickness here to enable us to get the actual spokes through then to the upright position. This hub, you'll notice, has none of the actual what looks like porosity down here. It's not actually porosity, it's actually the stuff that they actually applied to the cast iron insert to keep it hot while they were getting the aluminium ready to pour around it during the casting process. They've now corrected that, so you won't see any markings around here on these hubs. It also brings on to another subject, the poor old spoke. I have a lot of admiration for this piece of equipment. They're actually quite hard to make these days, and they're actually getting harder to make in the actual steel wire type. Stainless steel type is generally a lot easier to obtain. We have to get these bent, the threads rolled, and then we get them zinc plated and de-embrittled to make sure they don't snap and will tension correctly. How they make a stainless spoke, I've no idea, or what heat treatments and processes they apply to that. But I'd imagine they got something similar or use a different stainless steel to give it the strength that it needs. The old spoke is effectively just a loose fitting item that fits between the hub and the actual rim. When I say loose fitting, yes, they are tensioned, but technically that hub and that rim can move independently of each other. That's why you tend to see spokes on the trail bikes, and you'll see a cast wheel on a road bike or a race bike. But either way, the spoke has served us well for a good many years. I actually quite like it. The other question we're getting at the moment is, when are we going to have 850 cylinder barrels? Now, we've had problems with people using the shell pattern casting equipment that we've had for a good many years, to the extent that the one company that could actually use it have decided that it's not viable anymore for them to use that shell pattern. Which led to the question, where can I get these cylinder barrels made? I asked numerous companies around the UK that cast iron, and some of them even said, yeah, it's a doddle, we could 3D print a cylinder barrel, only to be shown that when the cooling fins around the actual cast iron barrel need to be printed, it's not going to work. What they were actually thinking of doing was 3D printing the sand pattern and then pouring it. It would have been great if we could do it that way, because the process when you start using a large bed would have meant that the barrels would have been cheap. In the end, we found a company that are going to try it, and we're going to see what they're like. We're expecting those samples in 5 to 6 weeks time. If they're any good, then we will sell those samples, and then we'll get a main production run done of the barrels. We also have some castings going through the system, which are the old style castings that we had, and they will be the last of the UK castings that we get done. Sadly, shell casting in the UK for a cylinder barrel with cooling fins that thin seems to be a fine art, and no one wants to do it, but we are looking to get them back in stock. That concludes today's video, and if you've got any questions, feel free to drop us a line or give us a ring at Andover Norton on the telephone system, or you can drop a line to technical@andover-norton.co.uk. Thanks very much.